what's up everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Brooklyn Report. And I'm here with a very special friend of mine, Brian Mcknight. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Man, so this is just my attempt at trying to be of service to people and trying to get some positive, encouraging information out there. Because I have a lot of conversations with people and everybody's always talking about growing and being uplifting and encouraging and pushing each other to be better at whatever we're doing. And I always walk away like, man, I wish other people could hear this kind of stuff. And then I go share it somewhere and people eat it up and they go try something, they go do something, they change their diet, they start working out, they read a book, and people's lives are better for it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start recording these conversations to get it out there. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what are you most passionate about?
Wow, that is a tough question. Obviously my music.
Okay.
The art that I try to create has been that way since I was 15 years old. Not knowing at the time when I learned to play instruments and I was teaching myself all this stuff that it was to have a career in music. It was, I was the kid that when you got me a toy that said it was unbreakable, I was going to figure out how to break it. I was going to, that was me. Right. And that's how I really approach everything. If you tell me that I can't do something, if there was a plaque in our kitchen, and I'll never forget this, and at 5 years old when I first started reading, the plaque said, "Success comes in cans." I was like, so I went in the pantry, I was like, I don't see no success.
Soup?
Yeah. But I failed to read the rest of it. It says failure comes in cans. So my dad, I was very fortunate to, very much like you, where my family played a huge role in my development, and not just my immediate family. I'm talking aunts and uncles, my grandparents, everybody wanted excellence. They demanded excellence. Now, whether it was because they just wanted you to be excellent, or they wanted people to be able to tell people, that's my son, that's my whatever it was.
It served its purpose.
From a family standpoint, they wanted all of us to be great. And I think that whatever we were going to be passionate at, even though music's in my family, it was everything. When we played sports, because that was my dad's thing, you know, it was, I didn't want him to come to the game because you could hear him yelling over everybody.
Right.
But I wanted more than for my team, more than for my coach, I wanted to be great for my dad.
Okay.
That's how because I was playing for him. So when you talk about passion, I'm passionate about everything I do, no matter what it is, because I still have that in me to not just be on the team. Not just, be another guy, or like they talk in the NFL circles, a jag, just a guy. You want to excel, and I'm obviously from a career standpoint, I'm passionate about what I do because I create it. But then I have to divorce myself from it because people are going to tell you whether they like it or whether they don't. And all I can do is give you the best I've got right now, and then give it to you, and then whatever you decide to say, it's over there. For me, I just have to, I'm on to the next thing.
That's dope, man. Like, some success comes in cans, failure comes in cans.
Cans. So you'll never hear me say it as long as you've known me. I mean, obviously we met playing basketball, and you being one of the guys I looked up to as far as having the kind of game I wanted.
Yeah, I heard him say it. On camera. Finally.
Well, it was a confidence thing. Because then I heard people tell me about how when you were in high school, you weren't this big. And you weren't that, so I think that some of that adversity played into the player that you became. Sometimes, and I think that's what people have a problem with some of the NBA players that got success too early. And it's like, and then how Michael did this. It doesn't really matter. You have your own personal journey. The only person that's going to stand in the way of you getting what you want is you. Period.
You're your only obstacle.
That's it. Yeah. And if you decide to go where you need to go, then you have to say, so what am I willing to do to get where I'm going? Within the framework of what's right and wrong.
I'll get put in jail.
But you have to make that decision. You're the only person that you have to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and really, live up to the expectation.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember one time, I don't know if we were at Balboa or something, and you said to me, man, people always, every time I make a foul call or something, like people always got something to say. It's like, man, I want, you know, like when you call a call, people just give it to you. Like, I want that kind of respect, right? So I looked at him, I said, you want to trade careers right now? Like, you could be the best pickup player at Balboa. I'll be a platinum recording artist. You know what I mean? I was just like, but it let me know how competitive you were and how like it meant that much to you to be great at everything that you tried to do. So then, you know, obviously golf and other things that we participated in. It's like everybody's so competitive and trying to have that one up over everybody, man. And
well, I think that comes from wanting to be more than what people expect.
Yeah.
If you study Da Vinci or Galileo or Michelangelo or people from that ilk, being a Renaissance man meant, or Sammy Davis Jr. In a much closer sense. Or a baseball player that has 3 tools, or 4 tools, or 5 tools. Right. Not just a hitter, not just a pitcher, not just, you know, a fielder. You want to be the guy who, whatever the crisis is, that they call you. Even if it's, you know, I always liken it to be, I want to work at NASA, to be one of those people that when there's an issue, that they want to call me for that. You know, you want to be smart, you want to be everything. And I think we live in a society where now people, you know, you want to focus on one thing. I was talking to Magic about today's players and players back in the day. It's like now these guys are specialists. Well, he's a rebounder, he's a defender, he's a shooter, he's a scorer. Where when they played in the 80s, you know, you had to do everything. And it just kind of sucks that we've gotten to a place where people don't want to be more. You know, I always wanted to be more, especially on the basketball court, because when you're a soft singer, or perceived to be a soft singer, people want to take that as weakness. Well, we're gonna rough him up. Then they realize, well, dude is like 6'5", and of course, before I was real skinny, but that ain't the case no more.
Hey man, so we're gonna continue on that line of discussion. 'Cause I want to ask you something about trying to be more than one thing. Brooklyn Report will be right back. We're back. We are back with the Brooklyn Report. I'm your host, Brooklyn Mclinn, and special guest is Brian Mcknight. In the last segment, so you know, sports guys, we always use sports analogies for everything. So, because I used to think that, man, I want to get your opinion about how you feel about it. Like when I played back, it was because I was a little guy. Like my first thing was I could shoot. So being so small, you know, thank God they put the three-point line in high school. Like it gave me some value, you know what I mean? It wasn't just me shooting 30-footers for no reason. And then when you're not hitting shots, it's like, how do you still create value for yourself on the court? So you either learn how to play defense, you know, ball handling, passing, like you try to add other things to your repertoire. What I've actually found as an adult in my adult life, as an actor, like trying to be too many things is not necessarily a good thing. So it was like, okay, as an actor, like I would come into an audition and try to show you I can be funny, try to show you I can be dramatic, like trying to show people all of these things. Like no, it almost felt like they wanted specialists. Like, okay, no, what are you great at? So it was like, all right, well, the perception of me is more dramatic. So I was like, I'm gonna focus on more drama stuff. And then you get in the door that way. And then once you're in, then it became, well, we like you. What else can you do? Oh, I could do some. Then it was allowed to show those other things. So how do you feel about somebody that sets out? Because my thing where I go start with one thing. Like be great at something. And then if you want to branch off from there, but to walk in and just go, I'm going to be good at 5 things. If I'm a good singer, like you're a great singer, they're going to go, we want Brian. If I'm a good writer, somebody's a great writer, they're going to go, we want the great. You know what I mean? So what is your opinion about that?
I think that in this particular business, it's more about when you walk into a situation, do they like you?
Okay, agreed.
Do they like you? Can you be a part of this team? Can you bring something to this that can you be directed? It's almost like, I mean, it's a job interview. Life is a job interview. I didn't really understand that early because I thought, I can do all of this. Right. I can play this piano up and down, this guitar and all of this. My personality shouldn't matter, whether or not, you know, because I thought I was Miles Davis. That's because I feel I'm awesome. You should just want to take me and make me into, and it just was not that way. You had to learn how to, and it's funny because I worked with Vanessa Williams early. Okay. And watching her work a room made me understand that what I can do means nothing if these people don't like me. So I had to figure out how to, because I don't know, I was a church musician. I don't, you know, I was in the background. I never wanted to be an artist. It wasn't something that, it was offered to me and I was like, well, I'll do that till I get in this basketball tryout. And then I'll go do that. And I'll see how bad. And then you get into it and you realize that it's a job. This is work. And it's not necessarily about my actual work as much as it is about all these things on the periphery. So in answer to your question, I think you have to figure out the game before you start actually playing it, because it's much more difficult to be in that game if you just get forced into it. So I don't really know, because I truly believe that once you get in the door, then you can show them exactly what you said. But just getting in there.
Yeah, man. No, that's a good point, because I've been reading Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, lately. And that's one of his principles is you need to have a pleasing personality. You know, you want to be liked. You want to stay away from certain kind of conversations, and you know what I mean, just a bunch of stuff. But that is on point, because when you think about, or at least when I thought about like networking, I used to hate networking, and because it's like, man, these people just gonna think I wanted something from them, and I don't really know how to. But the thing was, when I just stopped and looked at it, I was like, well, I just want people to know that I'm likable. Then it's like, well, be what you want other people to perceive you as. So it's like, okay, let me go out and do it, and then people go, oh wow, okay, yeah, cool, come on.
It's tough because, and my brother and I talk about this all the time, people don't like to look in the mirror. So if you can do lots of stuff, and you're going to other people to be a part of something, and now the mirror's back on them, and they may not be as talented as you. They may not be, and then they're going to say, well, this guy thinks he's this and that, when all you've done is done the work. All you've done is work to be great, and try to be great at what you're doing, or at several different things. And now they're like, oh, well, this dude thinks he knows he's all that. But we're not going to mess with him. We're going to mess with this other dude who's not as good, but at least it doesn't make me feel like I'm inferior to him. So there's all of these different psychological things I'm just now starting to figure out, when it may be a little too late.
But no, it's never too late. But the Brooklyn Report, we are back, getting some crazy knowledge from my man Brian Mcknight. Inspirations. What inspires you? And in the sense of, like, I look at the word inspire like to breathe life into. So what are some of your inspirations?
I think mine's always the same. It's just life. Life has a way of commingling with my psyche. It doesn't have to be my life. It's everything that's happening around me. There's always an inspiration. You wake up in the morning. I think taking for granted the mundane, everyday things of life can be one of the biggest mistakes you can make. So when you wake up in the morning, you know, it's like, man, I woke up again. But I don't know how many times. And then, you know, as you go through your day, so many things to be grateful for, to be thankful for. A song, you know, the ability to create, to have all your faculties in your mind. As you go around and you see things, man, you realize just how unfortunate some people can be. And to be able to say a kind word to them, or to be able to affect someone's life positively is always an inspiration. And to have your life be affected positively by somebody as well. So there's so much, man, that I may not verbalize, but that I'm always thinking about. I'm not really a talker necessarily.
No.
I do a lot of thinking. I do a lot of reading. I try to get better every day.
Right.
At something. Whether it's just, you know, when I'm working on my golf game, there is a zen-like quality to that. That I know that if I wasn't doing that, I'd probably be somewhere getting in trouble.
Okay.
Well, not bad trouble, but kind of trouble, you know.
Right.
So you have to find these things for yourself.
Right.
And I think that being an example, more than anything, that, you know, you may not speak to me, man, but you may say, man, there's something about that dude that makes me want to X, Y, or Z, because he's done that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I should go up and speak to him and see how this, and just having this conversation to be able to, because I'm never going to volunteer it.
Right.
No. You know what you should do?
Yeah.
You should, because I've seen people do that. I'm like,
right.
why are you doing that?
I got some friends like that.
Why are you doing that? So
they live in your neighborhood.
But you know that it's everything, man. I'm a sponge. I soak it all up.
Okay, so what's some good advice? What's the best piece of advice that you've gotten? Any one thing that just kind of was like, oh, I'm gonna take that and run with it.
It's my dad. My dad would not allow us to be ordinary. You know, he said, if you're gonna do it, then give it everything that you've got. Otherwise, don't even attempt. Don't even show up. If you're not coming to give everything you've got and to excel, and it's the old adage, if you shoot for the stars and you get to the moon, at least you're among the stars, kind of thing. You give your all every single time. And that's how I approach my life. I was watching social media the other day after one of my contemporaries at a concert, and people were saying, well, he wasn't in good voice that night. And he wasn't this, he wasn't that. And I think that if I saw that, he could kill me. It literally would. So when I step on stage and people have paid their money to see me, there's no way I'm going to give them less than what they paid for.
Right.
I want to give them more. I want them to come back. I never want... Now, maybe you didn't like the songs I chose. Maybe you didn't like my outfit. Right. But you ain't going to say I didn't sing my ass off tonight.
That's really interesting, man. Like there's almost a certain obligation that you have that I think a lot of talented people shy away from, like, because people are watching you, and it's almost like, well, if Brian's not going hard, then why should I go? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I learned that a long time ago. It was like people are watching, so if I don't feel like doing it, then I have to do it. I'm gonna do it because I know I'm not gonna give anybody else an excuse not to do it, even if I don't feel like it. So I'm gonna give 1,000% because I know somebody else is watching, and I don't want them walking away going, Brooklyn didn't go hard, so it's okay for me not to go.
They're always watching, no matter whether they say something or not. When someone's coming to get an autograph, I know that they're not the only person. There's somebody else that wanted to that didn't. Say, well, let me see what's going to happen here. And then they immediately go to social media and say, he's a jerk. So I try to do everything that I can to not have that happen. You're not going to please everybody. But I really got some of that from watching you, man. Even if we were playing pickup at Balboa, you know, you didn't take possessions off.
No.
You didn't. And you know, I like playing against you more than I like playing with you, honestly, because it made me work harder. But even when we would play together, you'd be on my head. It's like, man, you gonna miss that layup? You gonna miss that? Yeah, I was over here. You didn't pass me the ball. I could have been, you know. I'm like, man, get off my head. But you know, you always also have to have someone that you admire, that you look up to as an example. I think we all need that. No matter how good you get, no matter how much success you have, there's somebody doing better, and find them and just figure out what else you can do.
So I've been, I'm really heavy into like conscious and subconscious thinking. And what I've learned recently is that your subconscious thinking controls like 90% of what you do. And your conscious thought, although we might be thinking one thing, your subconscious, if that's a stronger thought, it will just do it has no filter, right? So what I'm learning is, like, listening to you and what your father instilled in you at a young age is basically like he fortified your subconscious with positive reinforcements and excellence and go hard, and so that became your programming. So anything you consciously decided to do when you were old enough to start thinking for yourself was gonna be in harmony with what was already pre-programmed in your thinking.
Right.
And it's been a struggle for me a little bit in certain areas because there's two ways that you can change your subconscious. And one is either through repetition, so affirmations of whatever, you gotta keep saying it, keep doing it, or some type of emotional impact can change you overnight. So when my pops passed away, and it's interesting, like from 0 to 20, I was 19. And when he passed away, like immediately I became a different person. And I didn't think things were so possible. Like my thoughts became, man, he was only 49, and man, I only got this much time. And like it just started, you know, so over the years, I've gradually started working towards, you know, getting back to where I was when I was young, when I thought I was gonna be the richest dude in the world, you know what I mean? So that's so key, and that you got that, and I know you instill that in your boys, and I just wish more people could understand, like, you can change who you are at any time. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know, but it takes a lot of repetition.
You know, I liken everything out of golf that if you can make your life like muscle memory, you know, if you can make your mind that way, that the if-then is always a constant, it's always the same, then you don't have to think that much. I try to take the thinking out of it. I don't want to think about it. I don't. But it's hard because there's always the devil and the angel on your shoulder trying to get in there and mess up everything that's going on. So nobody's perfect. You know, do the best you can, and if the way we were raised is true, then you know, ultimately you'll get where you're trying to go.
All right, so we're gonna come back with a little bit more of the Brooklyn Report with Brian Mcknight, and man, I can't thank you enough for doing this. This is really powerful. I think it's helping me, and that's what I'm realizing. Like, I'm doing it for other people, but it's almost like the therapist, that they become a therapist because there's something in them that they want to fix, and if they can fix other people, then they, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm doing this because I know it's necessary, but I know I need it just as much, and it's just the constant affirmations and reaffirming of things that everybody's been saying. So we'll be right back with more with the Brooklyn Report. There will never, we rolling? Okay. I was carrying blow, boy, y'all. Woo! Woo! Brian don't want to see me on no mic.
You're right.
You know what? I remember one time we was at the gym, and like the whole auto-tune thing was getting more, and you was like, man, if you want to, you can come to the house, we can cut you out. Well, I can have you sound like
it's true.
Marvin Gaye. I was like, really? I never took him up on that.
No.
I could have been a contender, child. Anyway, Brooklyn Report, that's what we doing. Brian Mcknight in the house. In his house. No pun intended. Spirituality. How much of a role does that play in your life?
How am I going to put this? Growing up in an ultra-religious family, I think you don't have the choice of believing or being able to research to find out what you should believe. And as I get older and I travel all around the world, let's just say that I am in search of a lot of different things that I don't necessarily believe are the way they were, or the way that they are from when I was taught as a child.
Right.
So I know that this world has something at its center that we all sort of gravitate towards, albeit whether it's the sun, whether it's whatever. I hated history when I was in school. I hated it. And now I soak it up like you wouldn't believe. I want to know. Now,
was it taught to you the way you're learning it now? It wasn't taught in school that way, was it?
Oh, no.
And that's
no.
I had a problem with history, but reading now is like, whoa, I wish they'd have taught this. Like,
well,
been
we have so many more tools at our disposal now, and I didn't have the opportunity to go to France, to go to Egypt, to go to Japan, to go and see things for myself. So, you know, these are also things that my brother and I debate all the time, just about God, and about what this means, and what that means, and what that means. I believe there is something out there I'm just not sure exactly what it is, and I'm in search to find it. And different than most people, I'm okay with not knowing until I know.
No, that's a good place to be.
You know, but I think the foundation of what I learned as a kid is what keeps you on the line of what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and when you should do it and when you shouldn't do it. And I'm grateful for having that foundation. And I think it's kept me from doing a lot of things or being in situations that not having it would have put me in jeopardy.
And that's clearly evident, because in all your years in the public light, like, you've never seen TMZ following you out of a courthouse, you know, like, I don't know if you saw the video of Too Short running away from the police.
No, I haven't.
He got pulled over for like a DUI stop.
Right.
And in the midst of talking with the cops, he just took off and started running.
I'm not saying I haven't run from the police.
Not on foot, you have.
Not on foot, no.
He did it on foot.
On a motorcycle, it's different.
He ran on foot and got about 10 yards away from him before they caught him. They was
but you know what?
They was running alongside like, where you going?
His album sales probably been up, though.
I wouldn't doubt it.
You know, that's the world that we live in. So, look, I, like most people, have contemplated, it's like, what would happen if I just went out and, I don't know, murdered a guy? How many records can I sell?
Did a whole movie and accidentally leaked it.
Yeah, you know, and we are living at a very, very strange time. And it makes you have crazy thoughts like that. But again, my foundation,
right,
where I was raised, because my mother's still alive.
Because if she was dead, I might do some stuff.
You know, you never know. I don't know. You don't want to get that call. You know?
No, that's real, man. Because there's certain things I won't do because I'm like, I don't want my grandmother to see this.
Right.
So if she can't watch it at 95 years old, and she's always calling, baby, you know, send me some stuff. And I'm like, I have to be able to send her stuff that she can sit down and watch and not be shocked and startled like that's my grandbaby.
But when you see other people in the places they've achieved by not having that, that's got to be difficult in some ways, because you're like, well, if that's all I got to do, then...
Well, man, how I've resigned it to myself is, like, I remember Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle had the whole thing with the show and going to Africa and coming back, I saw him when he came back at the comedy, at the Laugh Factory. And he talked about how his father, once again, which is why I think dads are so important in the upbringing of children, but his father basically impressed on him that he needed to define what success was for him and not be consumed with what everybody else thinks it is. So I think I have had those thoughts, and I've thought to myself, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, well, you have to decide what it is for you,
right, and
be okay with it, and be grateful and thankful and all the things that you spoke about earlier. And like, this is a space that I'm so happy with, and to have the ability to go out and, you know, sit down with friends and just like, this is success to me. Like, it's not, you know, I owned a home, it was upside down, short, you know what I mean? Like, nice cars, like, watch, like, I've enjoyed things at certain levels, and I'm like, all it really is from here on out is, well, I can buy 5 of those things, 10 of those. It's like, but it's still, you're only really wearing one at a time, so it's like, you still can appreciate it.
We've all been there.
You know what I mean? So, what it is. So, I think that's what it is. Like, once I was okay with what success was for me, then everybody else was just, you know, I'm happy for them. You know what I mean? Right. It's like just appreciating them for what they bring to the table.
Yeah, being an individual, to me, beats being just one of the guys in the crew. And again, you have to decide that for yourself. You cannot define yourself by what other people are going to think. Because it's got, I mean, you know everybody. You hang out with people who are at the upper echelon of everything. And I've always wondered, it's like, well, how, when you're trying to do the same thing, but you're with this guy, or you're hanging out with that guy, does it not sort of be like, because people are going to say, oh, that's just so-and-so's boy.
Yeah.
But that's because I know that's not the case because I know you, but I've heard people say dumb stuff like that.
Hey, man,
really?
I got a story, and this is what helped me, like, digest it. Dwayne Martin, right? We both know Dwayne is a good friend of ours, played basketball. He's probably been the guy I've been closest to in my journey through this entertainment thing. And he talked me into buying a new truck, right? And we went out to the auction and found a truck, Range Rover, it's nice, boom, whatever. It goes through the auction, I bid on it, I win the bid. I'm signing the paper, and he says to me, you know I just bought that truck, right? And I was like, huh? He said, you know I just bought that truck. And I was like, everybody's gonna think you bought this for me. Just by, so it's what you're saying. So sure enough, I'm dating this girl, and I was like, hey, I bought this truck today, and you would have swore she didn't hear me. And I was like, you want to come see it? Like, she was just kind of, and I was like, are you ignoring me? Like, what's going on? She said, how'd you get that truck? I said, I bought it. Like, I went to the auction. She said, Dwayne didn't buy that truck for you. I was like, he was right. So she thought that he had bought my house and my truck, right? So I'm with Will and Dwayne one day. We're going to go play golf. And I'm telling Will the story, and he goes, well, shit, I bought Dwayne's car and his house. Quincy Jones bought mine. Like, so it's like there's something that you can't really escape. It's like people are going to think what they're going to think because they just don't know. Right. You know what I mean? So if they were aware of how much work and, you know, the hours you spent, you know, playing the piano and writing and you know, just whatever that people are trying to do in their life, they wouldn't come to those conclusions. So because I understand that, I kind of accept it, and I'm like, this is par for the course. This comes with what you're saying you want to do. You just gotta, like, you need that. I need the people that's gonna do that, and I need the people that's gonna stick their leg out and try to trip me as I'm walking by. Like, I wouldn't be satisfied without both. Right. You know what I mean? Hey man, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Brian Mcknight, any parting shots? What's a piece of advice that you could give to somebody that's aspiring, you know, looking to uplift themselves, grow?
Wow. I mean, other than what we've already said, I mean, you have to believe in you. If you don't, then how is anybody else going to? Right. That's how I live my life. I don't go in any situation saying maybe, well, I don't know. You know that about me. I'm going in like, yeah, I got this, I'm gonna house this, that's it. Done. Now, you can like me, hate me, whatever, but then after that, you have to back it up by what you do. You can't just come in with the idea that you're something. You actually have to be it. So you have to practice, you have to work at it. Work ethic, you cannot teach desire. You have to actually build that inside of yourself and go out there and knock it out the park.
Man, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Brian Mcknight, Brooklyn Mclinn, The Brooklyn Report. See you next time.
Peace!